What's going on, everyone? Welcome to Movie Emporium's TV review of Snowpiercer Season 4, Episode 8, which is called By Weeping's Cross, once again directed by Leslie Hope. Okay, so here we have our Game of Thrones 8th episode. To be fairly honest, that seems like what they're aiming for. A clash of clans, a clash of bad guys and good guys. It pretty much all comes to a head in this episode as the beginning of the battle for Big Alice, for Snowpiercer, for New Eden, for everybody has coming to a head. And of course, it's a very quiet, everybody gets together before I'm sure a lot of people probably will die. Now, I almost thought this episode had a lot of conveniences with Sam Roche coming back, to be fairly honest, but I really did, the fact that they, instead of making you wait like the Acolyte did on what exactly happened to Sam Roche, you know, like we saw in the Acolyte, where the character like takes forever to get to what exactly happened in that episode, in that series. Sam Roche's character is an interesting one because he hurt himself, I'm assuming, when the young baby Lena was being kidnapped, that they took Sam to the silo. And though I wondered for like the longest time as he was talking whether he was manipulated by Milius's group, it turns out Sam Roche is just a badass, to be really honest. I mean, that's what he claims. He claims he took on 5 commandos, but I appreciate that kind of quiet moment where all the group that we've come to know and possibly love throughout the entire season or series of Snowpiercer comes back, and they have their like moment of like celebration. You know, they brought Big Alice back. You know, now we have Bess in New Eden. She's now reunited with Audrey, who is very much traumatized by the thing that she went through. You know, Layton and of course Josie and Leona finally go back to New Eden. They, of course, we were wondering. I'm sure we were wondering like what exactly would happen to them. You know, now that Nima basically took Snowpiercer, leaving them behind. And it turns out that, you know, with kind of a Deus Ex Machina or something like that. It felt like a Deus Ex Machina, but it could have just been coincidence that Sam heard on the radio. He appeared as one of the commandos, but it turns out it's him. We, of course, get the moment where Layton once again almost dies, but he, you know, survives, and they make it to New Eden. And it really is that episode that is the calm before the storm. Once again, Game of Thrones did this episode too. And I keep going back to Game of Thrones because this is so hearkening, so familiar with that 8th episode or whatever it was before all hell broke loose. Actually, it may have been the one before the big battle between the Night Army or the army or whatever. But it's a really kind of just interesting, fun episode. It's, you know, willing to allow us to just breathe for a minute. And though the idea of Aleks kind of working with Nima, who's kind of shown his cards, taking him away from the vest, the fact that Aleks has learned what has happened to her mother, who of course has been taken hostage or whatever, not hostage but taken prisoner, it puts Aleks in a predicament where once they get to New Eden, you know, Josie basically has switched the track to keep Snowpiercer from leaving, because a lot of people would want to jump ship, as they talk about. And in the process of everything, Nima needs Big Alice, so therefore they have to like go and do a mission to basically switch the track back so Nima can fulfill his duty that he promised Milius of this weaponized device that will cause more New Edens. But once again, Nima is such a weird villain to kind of come out of nowhere that it doesn't feel like a wholly interesting character, to be fairly honest. And that's been the problem with this season, is you get Milius, who could have been a cool like multi-season villain, you know, if they had done more than season 5. Nima could have come, his evilness could have come slower and slower and slower, but they had to rush it. And we're leaning into the last two coming into the last 2 episodes of the series, and now we have to jump so quickly, so fast into the final battle, which will be probably the whole next episode before whatever happens in the last episode. And I just found that it's just too much, too fast, too quickly. This really needs another season. It needs more expansion. It needs more layers. It needs just more to allow it to breathe, because it did so much setting up for like 4 or 5 episodes that when we get into what makes the season kind of interesting, it does it too quickly. Once again, going back to Game of Thrones, because that's the latest example of a series that, you know, I really liked, but that last season just, it was moving so quickly and had to move so fast and had to move so dramatically that it just lost so many pieces of that chessboard piece, which never gets fully developed and fully felt. And I just feel that here. I really do. This is not on that level, but it's on the level that I really like this series, but it's doing the exact same problems that a lot of series Lost did the same problem too, where they're just kind of put against a wall because of the fact that it was canceled and put, you know, on ice by Warner Brothers and stuff like that. It had already finished its completion. And I just feel like the series needs more time, to be fairly honest. I think this battle is going to be a very kind of underwhelming, to be fairly honest. It's going to not hit the tropes that it needs to, and I think that's a problem. I think people are going to die. You're not really going to feel the sadness in it. You know, I think the fact that they had their quiet moments were fine. I think, you know, Javi being the one that was introducing the episode in his native language was kind of cool. I like the fact, you know, that he was injured and he set off the bomb, and it wasn't kind of a swerve to think he was dead. He actually did get hurt. He was concussed and stuff like that. He had a concussion, and that stuff's kind of interesting and kind of fine, but once again, it doesn't really do much. All it does is lead for Bess and Ruth and of course the doctor that was with them to finally make it to New Eden. And I don't know. I feel that it's fine. I mean, there's not much to it. It's kind of anticlimactic in a way, which is what this series has been. And there was a few comments in my last video that talked about, you know, this is the one thing that once again worries me, is that Wilford's dead. But I mean, who knows at this point? It feels like that. It feels like, once again, these characters are dying and there's no substance to the death. And there's no feeling that you get that you feel sad for. You know, Wilford's a great villain, but he's just kind of not given a death. And, you know, I feel like that's going to happen next episode. Next episode is going to do the Harry Potter thing where those deaths were meaningful, but the deaths here aren't going to be that meaningful. And whether Nima succeeds, I don't know the answer to that question. Whether this leads into the movie, like they're not going to succeed and it's going to go back to the winters and they're going to be on the train forever. I don't know. I think it's going to be one of those things where Nima's going to die. This is my feeling. I have no idea, but Nima's going to die and they're going to use a silo to keep experimenting and keep finding a new way, be safe when they launch the rockets or some kind of thing to help the Earth heal itself, which has always been the main goal of the series, is to find a way for the Earth to get out of this ice age that it's in. And of course, as we know, Nemo's the one that caused the ice age because he wanted to experiment with Gemini. And I think it just needs to have some interesting conclusion, which unfortunately I've heard it doesn't. So we'll see how that plays out. Once again, there's not a lot here to talk about when it comes to the story. It's just a very simple reuniting of characters. It's a very simple, you know, idea of just like people with the calm before the storm. Once again, somebody did make a comment about Jennifer Connelly working on Dark Matter, which, yeah, I agree. That's probably a part of why she was not in a lot of this episode, a lot of this season, which is kind of a shame because she is like the main character. But I like that Boskovic works with Josie to try to protect the track switch, however you want to say it. You know, because they have a relationship of that's gone back for a season or two. So that's I like the fact that there's some material there where like they're trying everything in their power to keep everything safe. And I like the fact that, you know, we see how Leighton and Josie are such a strong couple in the series. Not really a strong couple in real life, but they're back and forth trying to fight about who's going to stay with Leona as the systems shut down before they're rescued by Roche. And it's, like I said, really weird that Leighton kind of almost dies but then comes back to life. It seems to be a running theme for Leighton in the series, so I don't know what's happening there. Other than that, you know, once again, Aleks and the Commandos go to the track switch. You know, of course, Aleks is she's doing it as a diversion. She wants to save her mom, but it feels like it's a diversion. But of course, she's held at gunpoint right before the end of the episode. So I mean, we'll see how that plays out. But once again, it starts off the war that is going to be between of course, Commandos and, of course, the people of New Eden. Once again, be prepared. At least I'm prepared that many people you love from this series are going to die. Who those characters are, I don't entirely know, but it's going to be a battle, and whether it's a good battle or not, whether it's anticlimactic, we'll see. But I guarantee you some people that you know and love from this series will probably not make it to the end of the season or end of the series, so we'll see how that plays out. But this is a shorter review. Once again, reuniting of people that you haven't seen together for, 8 episodes, to be fairly honest. People returning, kind of anticlimactic, but I love the slower moments. I love the smaller moments where everybody gets together and enjoys themselves before the calm, before the storm. So overall, I enjoyed the episode. It's not the greatest thing in the world, but it's very much feels like a entertaining, let's get these guys back together, have a moment before everything kind of blows to hell. So with that said, I'll give it a 7.5 out of 10. It's really nothing more than that, to be fairly honest. It just is a moment. Javi, seeing the scratch on the wall with, Ben's name on it, reminiscing was kind of sweet, but there's not much more layers of deepness than that. So 7.5 out of 10 seems to be right where I would put this episode. So with that said, that's going to do it. That's going to be my take on Snowpiercer Season 4, Episode 8, called By Weeping Cross. We're 2 episodes away from the end, people. We're almost there. That's how close we are to the end of this series. So anyways, comments below. What do you think of this more quieter episode before the storm? Did you like it? Did there anything you didn't like? All that good stuff. Just let me know, as you always have. But with that said, we'll go ahead and head out. If you like what you see on this channel, hit the subscribe button to join Movie Emporium. Hit that notification bell at top to find what's coming next. If you like this video, awesome. Hit that like button. And as always, we'll see you guys on the next video. Peace out, guys.